So I wanted to start off with two things. One was a disclaimer, basically, which is just to say, I don't pretend to know Mike Kelley's art. I'm not familiar with it. Coming to the mobile home was really the first that I'd heard of him and learned about him, and it's been really interesting, sort of seeing some of his work and reading some of the interviews that I came across. So mostly so and then the next thing that I wanted to say was a quote from him that was in an interview in Interview magazine, and the quote is, "I chose to become an artist because I wanted to be a failure. When I was young, if you wanted to really ostracize yourself from society, you became an artist." 1. Home. A home has so many layered meanings, both personal and abstract. When referring to the dictionary, there are multiple meanings and synonyms for home: residence, dwelling, physical structure, a valued place considered to be a refuge, or a place of origin. Those are just a few that I found. Home is familiar, familial, one convoluted mind overlapping another. We'd play house as children, as so many do. Sometimes the blanket tent kept us warm, and we'd sort ourselves into the married couple or the children pretending to be children. Sometimes we're building houses with Legos or Lincoln logs, although the only cabin we'd seen was the picture on the box. A cabin was always something else, a place where people may have lived, but not necessarily a home. Or something slightly exotic, something of another time. Think Little House on the Prairie. And why did we play married? I was living with just my mother. Most of my friends were in single-parent homes. Broken homes, they were called. Cracked, split. Perhaps we didn't know there were other ways to be whole. Told something was broken, although it seemed to fit, that's what we embodied. That's what we took from home and to home. The home in The Wizard of Oz was unintentionally, unexpectedly mobile. That house traveled far. And although the inside of the house stayed the same, the outside, the location, made all the difference in the world. I watched that film nearly every Labor Day weekend as summer threats of tornadoes had passed. Spoiler alert, the Great Oz is just a man behind a curtain. What we see is only a facade. Facade, the front of the house, the public presentation. In spite of this, when I think of home, I think of a static space rooted into the ground and into my being. A shelter for me and those I live with, comprised of bricks, cement, wood, and windows to look out of, but rarely to peer into. We'd go outside to play tag, winter returns to home base. The one immobile spot that was safe when everything outside of that sphere was unsafe. To exist outside of that space was to risk ourselves. If caught, it meant we failed, captured, exposed in the open. But to succeed or fail, we must first make ourselves vulnerable and exposed to the elements of the rest of the world. An image of running on the grass towards the tree, towards home base. The tree of the same wood that the house is made of. So to be a mobile home means there's a foot in both doors, to be mobile, vulnerable and exposed to the world, away from the safe spot, and to be home, stationed. Therefore, to be a mobile homestead is a safe failure, or a failure without risk. But this syllogism does not work, it's untrue. So let's try again. Speculations and scenes. Did Kelly play kickball with the kids next door? Are crayon markings on the wall indicating height changes? In the bathroom, Dad's steel-toed, well-heeled shoe smashes the alarm because the beeps give away his struggle to quit smoking. 2. Replica. A replica of a home is an almost home, an almost stable station, an almost lived-in space, an almost me. This time, instead of family, multiple families and individuals arrive, creating ephemeral communities whose diaspora spread as they each go their own way. This replica is with and without roots. Roots in a new community, easily uprooted and entering additional new communities, ungrand, unhistorical. A replica not in miniature, not imaged in clay, but with the same materials built to size, not a forgery. The replica is lacking the following aromas: butter pie crust, laundry detergent, drip pot coffee. Also, it lacks the crayon markings. Consequently, the replica is simultaneously sameness and unsameness. The bedroom may be the same, but the view from the window in Westmoreland is not the same as Camden Street. The outside scene informs the inside experience. Don't forget Dorothy's view after Kansas. Perhaps Mike Kelley failed at failing by endeavoring to create not what he wanted, and let's be honest, is it ever exactly as we want? What he almost wanted, a duplicate desire twinned in childhood roots and basement secrets. In neighborhoods nearby and specific to Detroit, failure did not occur, only vulnerability. 3, unseen. A private facade in public space, a public facade of privacy, saturnine projections digging through mud, rock, earthworms accompany, never linear, never a straight route. Too boring? Perhaps. Also too inaccurate. The smell of damp earth in nostrils masks the cacophony above. Spaces of refuge plastered, never able to be completely sutured together. Iron bed frames and subterranean squandered pennies in terratin walls. Trajectories meant to connect, invite, invade. The private psyche remains inaccessible, a tease. You know it's there. I know you know. I want you to know. Thank you.